What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to my YouTube channel, and today we're going to be talking about how I got a 760, I think it's actually like a 762 credit score at 20 years old. And by no means am I a credit expert. I'm simply making this video because I have my own personal experience with credit over the last 2.5 years being a young business owner, and I utilize credit for many things personally and through my business. So I wanted to make this video to kind of break it down for you guys, my personal experiences, my tips and tricks and recommendations, and then I'm also going to be going through my wallet and showing you guys what credit cards I have and why, and what I recommend for you guys if you are 17, 18 years old and learning about credit, looking to get your first credit card or anything like that. So without further ado, let's jump into the video. Now, before I start, I need to address the background here. It's not my normal background. I'm actually at my girlfriend's house pet sitting for her. So if you see like dogs and cats and stuff running around in the background, they're not mine. This is not my house, but I'm here for a couple days, so I figured I'd get a YouTube video filmed for you guys. So I just want to get started by saying that building credit is one of the best things that you can do as an entrepreneur, especially as an entrepreneur. Now, this goes for everybody, but as an entrepreneur, credit is especially important because you're not going to have the typical things that most people have in their lives, right? You probably aren't going to have a super steady income year over year like most people with a normal 9-to-5 salary that maybe they get a $2,000 to $3,000 promotion per year every 3 years, right? But overall, their bank statements and their W-2 and their income statements, they're all gonna be very linear, very consecutive, and they're gonna look a lot better to a bank than yours as an entrepreneur that might be kind of like this, just like mine is, right? So having credit, having a good lending history, having a good credit history with all of the things that we're gonna talk about that you should check off is a really good thing if you don't have a super secure and stable job like most entrepreneurs don't. So tip number one, coming from a 20-year-old entrepreneur, soon to be 21 years old, I've had credit for almost 3 years now. I opened up my first credit card, which was a secured credit card with a $1,000 limit. I opened it up literally on my 18th birthday. Right? I had somebody one time ask me what I did for my 18th birthday, and I told them I literally spent it at the bank with my dad, and we opened up my very first credit card. And so I highly recommend you guys to do that. And also, if you have a parent with good credit like my dad has, right? Thankfully he had good credit, a parent or a legal guardian, make sure that you go with them to open up your first credit card, because if they co-sign with you on that credit card, that means that they take partial responsibility for, the credit, but at the end of the day, it was a $1,000 limit, so my dad was willing to do that, right? So if they co-sign with you and they have really good credit and long credit history, that's gonna get you off on the right foot. So I actually had like a 720 credit score literally the day after I turned 18 because my dad had co-signed with me on that initial credit card. So that really got me off to a good start. So next tip, I actually kind of touched on it in my previous tip, but get a secured credit card as soon as you can. So start early and get a secured credit card. Now, a secured credit card pretty much means that you give the bank money and then they lend you a credit line based on that money. It's a great way to get approved, first of all, because they pretty much approve every single secured credit card. As long as you meet certain criteria, then you're gonna get approved for a secured credit card. It's probably the best way to kick off your credit journey. And so, like I said, that's what I did. And it was a great way to kick things off, especially co-signed with my dad, got me off to a really solid start in my credit journey. All right, tip number 3. On-time payments. Now guys, I can't stress this enough. I think if I remember correctly, this is over 35% of what is calculated into your credit score. So this matters a lot. Make sure your payments are on time. Now, the best way to make sure that your payments are on time every single month is to set up automatic payments, right? Very simple, but a lot of people don't do it. So set up automatic payments for every single credit card that you get for the rest of your life. Just make it a rule to yourself, right? Never rely on yourself to go in and remember, especially when you have 5, 6, 7, 8 credit cards. Never rely on yourself to remember to go in and pay the bill every single month, because I guarantee you're gonna forget, right? Put automatic payments on, forget about it. The only way that you're ever gonna run into any problems is if you spend more money than you have. And that actually brings me to point number 4, which is don't spend more money than you have, right? So there's guys out there like Dave Ramsey that say, stay away from credit cards, stay away from credit cards, right? Why does he say that? It's because the average American is stupid. Okay, for lack of a better term, right? They get credit and they think that it's money that they can just spend. It's somebody else's money they can just spend. They'll make it and they'll pay it back eventually. You know, they're cool with being in debt. They're cool with having a bad credit score, right? You're not. If you're watching my channel, you're not. You need credit because you can utilize it for so many things in life, but don't be stupid with it. Don't spend money that you don't have. I want you guys to think about your credit card as a debit card. Just imagine that that money's coming out of your bank account anyway. That way you can build credit properly without ever having to worry that you don't have enough money to pay the bill at the end of the month. All right, tip number 5 is utilization. You always want to keep your credit utilization under 10%. So, for example, that means that if you have a $1,000 credit limit, you never really want your balance to go above $100. So what I would do when I had my credit card, my very first credit card, like I said, with a $1,000 limit, I made sure that every time I got up into that $100 range, I would go pay it off. I'd pay it off early, right? So even then, I had automatic payments set, but a lot of the times I had just already paid it off manually ahead of that automatic payment. So that's another big tip. Utilization is a big factor in how your credit score is decided. So make sure that you keep your utilization under 10%. Now, the other way to keep your utilization under 10%, you can't just spend $100 on your credit card forever, right? As you level up in life and as your income grows and you get older, right? You just need to go out and get more credit lines, more credit cards, whatever it is, right? Go out and get more credit, because the more credit that you have, so let's say you have 5 cards with a $1,000 limit, that's a $5,000 credit limit. So now 10% utilization is $500 instead of $100. All right, tip number 6 is to just stay consistent and stay patient, right? Now, I need to take my own advice on this one, because I actually recently applied for a loan on something and I got denied twice, right? How did I get denied? I have the money and the credit limit and the credit score and all that stuff, right? The income, the tax forms, I have all that, right? But I got denied because of my credit length, right? My credit age. So I only have like 2 years and 8 months or 9 months or something like that of credit history. A lot of lenders and credit card companies see me as a risk because I have little experience with credit. So my tip, like I said, is to just be patient. You know, you can do all these different things and make sure that you're doing all the other stuff that I've talked about in tips 1 through 5, but make sure that you do all these things consistently for years and years and years so that you can really reap the benefits of, like an 850 credit score. If you guys didn't know, the absolute top credit score is an 850, right? You want to get there one day, right? That's your ultimate goal. So be patient. Don't let any derogatory marks get onto your credit. Try to avoid them at all costs, right? Don't make late payments. Don't do any of the stupid stuff that we talked about earlier in this video. And then eventually your credit score is just going to go up super predictably over time. That's what's happening with me, right? I started off at a 720 and over, the period of like 2 years, I eventually creep my way up to a 760, and hopefully in the next couple of years, I'll be at an 800 or even higher. All right, and the next tip and the last tip is inquiries. So credit inquiries, hard inquiries specifically. There are soft and hard credit inquiries. Soft inquiries don't really affect you very much. That's when people just look at kind of like a 10,000 foot view of your credit to see what's going on there, right? A hard inquiry is what a lender is gonna do when you apply for a credit card, for a loan, for anything like that, right? They're gonna look into all the different things that have to do with you and your credit. So you wanna keep those to an absolute minimum. Only ever allow somebody to do a hard inquiry on your credit if you are, number one, absolutely sure that you want whatever it is, whether it's a car and you're trying to get a car loan, or a credit card and you really want or need that credit card for something, or if you are 99.9% sure that you're going to get approved for whatever it is, and the only thing between you and having that thing is a hard inquiry, right? So right now, I think I have 3 or 4 hard inquiries on my credit, and you can actually get those erased. There's people out there who will help you remove them. I've had them removed in the past. So I have 4 recently recently from 2 credit card inquiries that I had, an auto loan, and then actually another auto loan. Like I said, I got denied for one and then approved for the second one. So I have 4 on mine right now. I'm gonna actually try to get those removed. But guys, keep your inquiries to a minimum. You know, one of the biggest ways that you can ruin your credit is by just going and signing up for like a Costco credit card and a Walmart credit card, whatever it is. Like all these different stores and companies and brands have these like credit cards now, and it's a hard inquiry every time you sign up for one of those things. So keep that to a minimum. Try to do as little of that as possible, and you'll be just fine. So now we're gonna take out my wallet and talk about what's in here. So number 1 is my American Express Platinum card. Now this card is amazing. I use it for so much, and this is the credit card that I use the most. However, it is not a personal credit card. It's a business credit card. Therefore, what I do with this does not affect my personal credit. It only affects my business's credit history, right? So it's cool to have. I put most of my business expenses on this. It makes it very simple for me at the end of the year to send over my Amex statements to my CPA and just say, hey, this is what I spent with the business this year, outside of certain bank payments and wire transfers and stuff like that. Most of my outgoing cash comes off of my Amex card. Now that one is $750 per year to have. That's the annual fee, but it comes with all sorts of perks, guys. I'm not gonna sit here and list them out and bore you, but there's all sorts of different travel and food perks and all sorts of different things. I have right now hundreds of thousands of Amex points that I've just racked up over time using that card for all sorts of things. And when COVID is over, I'll hopefully be able to go and travel to some crazy place completely for free on points. So that's what is amazing about American Express. Card number 2 is my American Express Gold card. Now this is actually the rose gold card. It was a limited edition. There's no difference between this and the normal gold card. It's just a different color. But this one I believe is $250 a year for the annual fee. This is a personal card, so this one does show up on my credit. But you guys do have to know something about American Express. They are charge cards, so they're not traditional credit cards. So, technically these cards, the Platinum and the Gold, don't have a limit. The limit is kind of determined by different factors, so it changes and it's kind of malleable. So they are charge cards, so they don't really show up on your credit utilization because they don't really add credit line to your credit. I'm not 100% sure how to explain it to you guys. Like I said, I'm not a complete expert on this. I'm just sharing what I know. But these are charge cards, so you don't just want American Express cards. You want to have a variety of other cards as well. Now the next card here is the Apple credit card. Now this one's cool. It's metal, right? There's no numbers on it. I can show you guys the front and the back, and you can't steal anything from me. So cool. If you guys know me, I'm a big Apple fan, a big Apple fanboy. And so I just got this kind of for jokes when it first came out, but I've actually used it a lot because I buy a decent amount of Apple products. So I pretty much exclusively use this card for Apple products. It is a MasterCard, and they partnered up with Goldman Sachs to do this credit card. You get I think 4 or 5% cash back on Apple purchases. So anytime I buy anything from Apple, I put it on this card, and it gets you great perks, and they send Apple Cash directly to your wallet. It's really cool. And pretty much everyone gets approved for this, as far as I've heard, as long as you have above a certain credit score. So it's not a bad card. I have a decent credit limit on it, so it helped with my utilization when I actually got this card. There's no annual fee, and it's just a cool card to have in your wallet. Now my next credit card is a Barclay card. Now I applied for this one back before the Apple card existed because this one has Apple rewards. So they would give you all sorts of different rewards for spending money at Apple. This was kind of the OG Apple card. I applied for this back in mid 2018 and got approved for it. I have a $10,000 or $12,000 credit limit on this card. So it's a really solid card. I get little Apple $25 Apple gift cards in the mail when I spend money on this after a certain amount of time when my points build up. So it's pretty cool. I don't really use it for much. It is a Visa card. So having a Visa, a MasterCard, and American Express is great because I don't have to worry about going to somewhere that doesn't take one of those cards. That's a danger actually of only carrying one type of card, is that you might get denied somewhere. Now, in addition to that card, I actually did just recently apply for the Chase Sapphire Reserve card just a couple days ago. I don't think I've heard back yet. I'm gonna go check my email after this video because making this video actually reminded me, so I need to go check on that. But the Chase Sapphire Reserve card I've heard is great for travel perks and all sorts of stuff like that. It's a competitor to the Amex Platinum card, so I'm looking forward to hopefully getting approved for that card. And I plan on applying for many more cards in the months and years to come. Like I said, not a super crazy credit guru expert person, but I just wanted to make this video for you guys so that it's relatable, because like I said, I'm kind of going through this journey with myself and credit and business credit and all this different stuff. And I wanted to share my knowledge, what I've learned in my own research when I've been looking into all these different things with you guys. So without further ado, that's it for this video, and I appreciate you guys for listening. Be sure to drop a like and subscribe if you learned something in this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.